Hello and welcome back to the project box. This is why I call it a project box, and this is why I recommend a project box. If you have to walk away like I did, and I was going to come back last night, didn't happen, you have a place to safely store your projects. What I did here for my 2.5-inch strips, I divided them 12 of the light and 12 of your medium. And this is, I just fold in thirds. We'll use those later. Same with the darks, or the dark, medium, dark. 12 and 12, fold them in thirds. Stack them in your bin. Right now we're going to work with our 9 3/4-inch squares. And you'll need your marking device. Whether it's a pencil will work well. The heat erase pens, what else? Chalk pencils, they do wear off. This is going to be temporarily. If you want to just do a little bit, there's the air erase markers. But depending on if you're in a dry area, or is it humid? Humid, I think it's humid. It will erase faster. Another tip I wanted to give you, when you cut your squares, and they're right sides together, I take and sort everything out so they're ready to go. It's called production sewing. Everything is nice and orderly. Put them so they're all facing the same direction. So those are ready to go. You can mark on the dark or light depending on what your choice of fabric marking utensil would be. Yeah. It was snowing here today in Minnesota, just so you know. I looked out the window and I thought my eyes were going really bad, and here it looked like a blizzard whiteout. Literally. It's kind of crazy. And what, we're at the 20th of April? Crazy, crazy. Alright, marking tips. This one's really short. So everything is lined up, ready to go. We're going to mark on the wrong side. You're going to need a big enough ruler or double it up with your rulers. We're going to mark an X through both directions. Alright, I had to redo that because, you know, poor lighting. You guys need to be able to see. Where did I do with my big ruler? Here it is. And I'm getting a text message. It's okay. Lisa, I'm working. It's okay. I wanted to put this a little bit darker so you could see it. Alright. Up on the camera. Put your pen here. Bring your ruler up to it. Bring it up to that middle mark. Go from the middle to the outsides. This will, and again, move your hand with your ruler, keeping pressure on these bigger blocks, because if you just go, you see it just cringe. That little tiny bit's not going to hurt. The other thing I want to, because this is, you know, just because, wow. I'm so excited. I got a lot of things to do, a lot of things to accomplish before I go away for the weekend. Okay, I close my pen. If you start at the corner and work your way down, even with your hand there, it can crunch your fabric. Hold your hand just like your rotary cutter at the same point where your ruler is at. Mark your line dark enough for you to see, and that'll be good. I'm going to go off camera and mark a whole bunch of these. Maybe you guys can see this now. X marks the spot. Depends on the light. Yeah, you can kind of see it. 1/4 inch. There's several kinds of 1/4 inch feet. If you don't have one, it's okay. Find a mark. Find a mark on your sewing machine. On your sewing foot to guide it in, whether it's one side or the other, if you can move your needle over. The best thing I can tell you to do is take a marking utensil. I did this with... This is the wrong one. That's the one I did before. I changed my thread to a darker color. Mark a line. my marked line is the light blue. Run a stitch. Measure it. If it comes out to be 1/4 inch, you're in the golden era. If you have the dowel machine, just give it one little bump to whichever way you need it to go. As long as it's even one stitch with inside that 1/4 inch mark, that's called a scant 1/4 inch, totally okay. I'm going to set up the sewing machine so we can sew. Alright, let's sew. When production sewing, it's kind of the same thing. I set my pieces up, especially these big guys, put them right sides together, put them in a stack. That way I can chain sew. I'm going to show you both of the ways we need to sew our pieces. I'm going to show you what chain sewing is. So you want to carefully line this up. It's okay to use a pin. Bigger pieces, I suggest using a pin just for a little bit of stabilization. Since I'm going to be sewing down this line, put the pins in going towards the line, not with the line. With the line will allow them to shift. Blue, what are you doing there, puppy? Something's annoying the puppy as he's getting a drink. I'm not so used to pinning. Alright, to go this way. I don't suggest sewing over pins. They can break needles, bend things, bend cams. Some people still do. Your choice, your machine. No rules. What's going on there, buddy? You alright? Alright. I still have thread catchers. I always use thread catchers. I'll bring it to the end. Sew a little ways off. I'm going to sew 1/4 inch on each side of that line there. I should have made it a little bit darker. The sun's glaring. So I'm going to, this is my 1/4 inch seam line here. As this is going through the machine, I'm going to hold my thread catcher. I'm not going to yank on it. I'm not going to pull it. I am just going to gently hold it taut so the threads don't want to go down into the feed dogs, or so your points don't want to go down into the feed dogs. Go real slow, get it started, then you can let that go. And then sew away. I just barely have my hands here. There is no pressure. The more pressure that's on this side or that side, your material is going to want to shifty shift. So just kind of guide it. This is not a race to complete this quilt by any means. I want you to enjoy the process. I want you to enjoy learning this. Or just making it if you already know how. For me, myself, on other pieces, like when we do the strips, I like to sew a little faster. Again, line this up. So chain piecing would be if I take this guy and send him in afterwards and continue going on with that. But for the sake of the video and your guys' boredom, I will spare you. We're just going to do the turn. Turn, 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 turn. I don't know where I put my scissors. That's like, you know, find the tape at Christmas time, right? Who moved the tape? Who moved the scissors? I just do this because I don't care for... I've had happen, once in a blue moon, my tips of my triangles go down and get a catch. Of course, you guys changed your needle. Maybe we need to talk about machine maintenance and bobbin area cleaning one of these days. All machines are different. That's the thing. You need to clean under that race. That's the black thing, or it could be metal that holds your bobbin in and getting all the lint out of there. I saw in the other group where some of us came from, Somebody had posted a thing about all the yuck in her machine. Besides me and Kay. Kay and I were talking about that. Alright, so we have that piece there, right? Alright, so we got both sides of that way. And get out of there. Little snips at your sewing machine's really, really nice. Okay. Again, oh, let's keep those tails. Yeah, see, if you don't hang on to these tails, if you're brand new to sewing, they do get sucked in. Whether you're sewing clothes or quilts, it doesn't matter. They will get sucked in and make a mess on your machine. Alright, and then down this side. 1/4 inch, down the way we go. It might get a little puckery because we're sewing both directions. Hello, telephone. It can wait. If it's important, they will call. That's my family rules. If it's important, call. And keep calling until somebody answers. Because I don't answer the phone while I'm driving. I don't have one of those smart things. The other thing I can do is I have that loop. I made it long enough and put it around my finger. Now it's not going to let me do it because I'm trying to show you. You know, to make a liar out of you a bit. Just kind of keep your finger in that loop. Gently guide it down. And away we go. This is more my normal speed of sewing. I find for myself, and that's probably because I've been sewing for so long, the slower I go, the more mistakes I make, because I notice the mistakes and I don't notice every little tiny little drunken path that my stitches decide to take. Because when you just glance at it, it looks fine. If you look at them close, some people would complain about those, but nobody's going to see them, so it's totally alright. That's how you're going to sew your big blocks. Get those all together. And then for your 2.5 inch strips, right sides together, of course. Yeah, right sides together. I kind of, we're out of camera view here. I kind of open them up, shake them, match up the ends, give them a shake so they almost match, let them go down to the floor, kind of get them ready to go. You don't have to go all the way because you're going to adjust as you go. Give me that chunk of thread holder. Here we go. Are you guys excited? Are you beginners excited? I really also would like you guys and gals and people, and I'm sorry if I just called everybody guys, but that's such a term that I grew up with growing up. Doesn't matter who you were. It was guys. When there was crowd, it was you guys. Anyway, I'm most impolitically correct. Politically incorrect. Yeah. Anyway, line your stitches up. I'm going to do this. The other thing is you're going to have the weight down here. It's very important when you're sewing to try to keep your weight as equal as you can. So after you get it down to the floor and kind of straightened all the way up, you're going to kind of, if you can, have the room accordion fold this. The weight is up here. Now it's not pulling, it's not shifting your stitches. It's just going to sew. So then we start this. Drink when I say so. I don't care what you're drinking, coffee, tea, milk. Alright. The more you touch your fabric, the more it's going to fray. I know this sounds crazy because now I'm going to tell you to use your thumb right here at the edge of your fabric as a guide, as well as your finger. Does that make sense? I just kind of let it go a little bit, adjust as needed, put my fingers back up there. I'm not even doing anything like really with this hand, it's just kind of draped over my hand. so I can kind of see what's happening at the edge here and letting it go. You want to be as accurate as you can. Try to keep it down that 1/4 inch. I like production sewing because I think you get in a habit, okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm sewing all these things, and it just becomes monkey work, if you will. And I don't mean to downgrade anything, but that's the best way I can describe it. Monotonous. So do a few, change it up, do something else. But sewing is sewing. And if you're doing all the processes in one order, you are less likely to make a mistake. Yeah, I'm excited to see everybody's colors that they're choosing. Again, I really want you guys to comment on the pattern writing, if it's understandable, if you can follow it, especially you beginners. I really need your input. I have wanted to be for years a pattern writer. I'm just learning the PowerPoint to do it, so it's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. Again, this finger is just kind of there. It's kind of hovering. Maybe just a little bit of just barely touching the fabric. See how my finger caught that, and there's a little thread shed there. Clean it up as you go when we get to the ironing board. This is where most people mess up. They just, because they don't know what to do with their machine. A needle. A needle here works really good. Your seam ripper, a stiletto. A stiletto is what most quilters use. I generally tend to use my big long seam ripper if I'm doing really pointy things, just to give me something to help guide it, to keep it along that 1/4 inch seam. This doesn't matter because it's the selvage edge